Alright, hello everyone and welcome to the 24 Hours of Bathurst. This is a fundraiser for the British Heart Foundation. The British Heart Foundation is the biggest independent fundraiser for research into cardiovascular disease in the UK. It is a very important charity, close to quite a few people here in ACM, and of course we've got quite a big grid on our hands today. We've got 24 Hours of Bathurst. Currently there's about 35 cars on track. This is the qualifying session. We've got 12 minutes left at the moment. Fastest time that's been set from Victor Ravenko in the Schmidt R1 number 112 Audi with a 2-minute point 3. That is an incredibly fast lap time from the Audi. I have a feeling that quite a few cars will make it into the sub 2-minute lap times today. But of course we will be seeing what they can do. A little bit more information about this race. This race is of course a fundraiser for the British Heart Foundation, and you can donate to see people have penalties, to see people have ballast, anything like that. All of the rules for that is on the ACM Racing website, acm-racing.com/fundraiser. The link to that is pinned in the Twitch chat as well. We have had quite a few donations come in already. We've got 30 kilogram ballast removal for car 343 and a 5 kilogram ballast removal for car 301 as well. So very fun times are underway. We've got of course the qualifying session underway. You can see the track map on the right hand side of your screen is filled with cars at the moment. And of course Ravenko has just come into the pit lane. We'll be starting his new lap. There's a yellow flag in the middle of the section there, but Gallo has made his way through. That probably won't be a fast lap for Gallo now as a result of that, but look at the livery on that Mustang. Very nice livery. We've got some very good liveries on the grid today. We're doing a quick run through of those at the start of this race, potentially a bit more later in the race, but of course Dyer has just set the fastest lap of qualifying so far with a 2-minute flat and 5,000ths of a second lap time. So I said that we'd get quite a few people underneath the 2-minute lap time barrier, and Brogan Dyer has started that trend, almost 5,000ths of a second away from it. Car 343 is obviously one of the cars that has the minus 40 kilograms of ballast applied, so of course we'll be a little bit faster than the rest of the grid. And for a first lap from Brogan Dyer there, a very strong lap indeed. That's definitely going to go up. He's currently 400ths of a second up on his lap, of course, at the start of Bathurst, so plenty of the circuit to go, but we'll be seeing what he can do. A few other drivers are improving out there at the moment. Solis is coming down the back straight now, braking hard for the final, or for the second to last left-hander here at Bathurst. Also in a Ford, there's quite a few Fords on track today. You can see the left-hand leaderboard is stacked with those Ford logos, but car 301 currently just about equal on the previous lap time. They were about 3/10 up before that final hard braking point, but they have unfortunately lost a bit of that time. They're on a new lap now though, so they are ready to get some time knocked off. Of course, car 301 is one of the other cars with ballast removed. That's minus 5 kilograms for car 301. So they will be a little bit faster than the rest of the grid. Up in 4th place, Fabrizio Gallo, again looking for some time in that Mustang. Big Mac Jr. Racing, that epic livery on that Mustang, very American for an American car as well. It's good to see. Currently about 3/10 up on their lap. That will put them comfortably into P2 should they finish this lap clean, and of course we will be ready to see them at the top of the charts. Getting quite close here for the top 5. There's about 5/10 separating the top 5 cars. This is only the first 10 minutes of qualifying as well. 8 minutes to go. Most of the cars are out on track. We've got a few cars in the pit lane, and there's about 7 or so cars which are yet to set their lap as well. apologies for the slight delay, just dealing with something in the background. Broken Diet back out on a lap at the moment, no improvements so far. I think he's just on an out lap at the moment. As mentioned, sorry for the slight emptiness of this stream. I'm currently dealing with something in the background, just getting something working. Alright, cool. Sorry about that. I was just sorting something out. Brogan Dyer did go out and set a 159 flat, but then got caught up in an incident. I think that was caught on the stream as well. But they are back in the pit lane at the moment. We had another driver setting a 159. That was a 159.962 from our good friend Fabrizio Gallo in that wonderful Mustang livery. Of course, only just underneath the 2-minute marker, about 4/10 or so beneath that, but it is still underneath the 2-minute marker. It's still a very strong lap time to be set at the moment. And of course, Gallo does not have 40 kilograms removed compared to Broken Dyer's car number 343. A couple of the drivers out on a lap at the moment. Ravenko has just crossed the line to start a new lap in the number 112 Audi. They'll be coming around the first corner, about 400s up on the lap at the moment, but of course only just doing the first corner, so plenty of Bathurst left to run by. We'll jump on board with Ravenko for this one. Bathurst is of course a very tight and difficult circuit up here in the mountain. You have to get your inputs perfect, make sure your braking zone's perfect as well. A nice braking point there for Ravenko, going slightly wide on the apex, but getting a good run out of the second corner. Jumping back over to the right side of this track now, keeping it nice and steady for the braking zone into that corner. Try and keep it tight to the inside as possible, using a little bit of that curve on the right hand side as well. Once again, divert into the left hand side, then cutting into the right hand side, keeping it pushed to the floor, pedal to the metal as they go through this section. No lifting, no braking. It's just pure flat out racing. Watch out for yellow flag cars there. Unfortunately getting caught by a slow McLaren on the inside. That will be looked at by the stewards, I will assume. And of course that will be the end of that lap for Ravenko. But we'll jump aboard with it's commentator's curse in action here. Lekaj was on a flying lap. That was the Mustang which we saw pass by Ravenko just before that, but of course they did actually lose control there coming down the mountain. So we'll jump on board with Rocco Paoletti instead now, car number 184 coming down the final hairpin of Bathurst, racing out onto the long straight now, heading towards sector 3. This section of course just keeping that pedal pushed to the floor. That Mustang will be breathing in as much air as possible, putting down the power, coming down in towards sector 3 now. Keeping it pushed flat around this right-hander and braking just before the 100-meter board there. Keeping it nice and steady around the left-hand side corner. Sticking back to the right once again, using a little bit of curve on the inside, and not running too far out onto the left. Braking just before the 100-meter board here, or just after the 100-meter board there. Keeping it nice and tight to the inside, not using too much of the exit curb. Coming across the line, that will be a 2 minutes 0.8 or 2 minute 8/10 lap time there for Rocco Paoletti. P7 position for car number 184 with a 5/10 gap over P8. So a very strong lap time from Rocco there, very comfortable position to be in. Matty Garcia for the transmission times BHF racing team, the Aston Martin looking very nice there with some eye shade as well. Coming down to that final hard braking left-hander, got some British Heart Foundation logos on that car as well, lovely to see. Of course, please do put in your votes for livery of the day. We'll be having a look through the different liveries that are on the grid during the start of the race. But coming through the final corner, Matty Garcia about 2/10 up on the lap time. That will be put into a 2 minute 1 second 0.2 lap time. Again, a very strong lap time there for Matty Garcia, the car number 455, making themselves comfortable in P8, about 4/10 back from P7, but a comfortable 2/10 up from P9. Adam Nagy, who is in P9, did set a 2 minute 1 second 0.455, and that was about 2.5 tenths, 2 or so tenths slower than Garcia. So we'll be seeing where they go in the race. Paoletti has just returned to the garage, and we've got a few cars remaining on track now. We've got Roman Schwengler for the Sigma Racing team. The Honda here coming down and through the final few corners of Bathurst here, trying to keep that Honda under control. Very nice blue and yellow livery there as well. Going down the straight now, keeping it flat to the floor. 5/10 up on the lap time, which is a very strong lap time. That'll put them just back from P10, about P11 position or so. We'll see if they can gain any more time in these final few corners of the track as well, but we'll be seeing they can do. Braking now into the final left-hander, the final heavy left-hander there. Number 487, keeping it tight to the right-hand side once again. Getting ready for the braking zone into the final left-hander. 8/10 up on the lap time now, 9/10 up on the lap time, losing a little bit on that last corner there, but that'll be a P9 position for Schlangler there. A very strong lap time indeed, and just got themselves into the top 10 positions. So that is qualifying completed for the majority of the drivers here. There is JCNG also out on the lap at the moment, but of course we'll be finishing that soon. That's the Accelerate Racing team, the number 76 Aston Martin. Can't currently see what lap time they are on at the moment, but we'll be seeing if they improve any more. They need to gain at least 1 second on their lap time to improve up to P27, so we'll be seeing what they can do out of this position. Of course, down in P28, P27 at the moment. Going through the final corner, losing a little bit of time there on the end, getting a little bit wide on the entry, and that is across the line. It is still P28 for that car. So very strong qualifying from everyone on grid. Will be forwarding into the race session now. It was seems like Brogan Dyer and Osders have disqualified themselves, so they'll be starting from the rear of the grid. So we'll be starting off the pack with Fabrizio Gallo there, and we'll do a quick run through of the grid as we get ready for the 24 hours of Bathurst. Cool. So, ready for the rundown of the grid then. 1 minute left until the formation lap. Up in P1 at the moment, got Fabrizio Gallo getting ready to start this race. It might be my own for the FMP racing team starting off in the number 104 Mustang. Garrido in the Mercedes is in P2 at the moment. That's the lovely red Mercedes on your screen. Just behind that, we've got another Mustang, a blue Mustang this time from Solis. That's car number 301. They have -5 kilograms of BOP on that car. Just behind them is an Audi, absolute lovely variants on the grid today. I'll just switch the camera to this one here, with a Mercedes and a Audi in the top 5. Another Mustang in P5 there, Lecage in number 67, and that red Mustang on the right hand side there looking very nice. Just behind them is a McLaren, first McLaren on the grid today, which is driven by Klimchak. It's the number 993 McLaren there, with some lovely decals on that car. We'll be seeing what they can do throughout the race. And Paletti, that's the number 184 Mustang to your right in P7. Martinez in P8, that's number 455 Aston Martin to your left. Just behind them, Sprengler, who we were on with at the end of qualifying, in the Honda. And then Adam Nagy in the number 250 BMW on your left there. We'll see the rest of the cars pass by. It seems like there's another Mercedes there just to the left. I believe that's the Mercedes of McGovern. And then another 3 Mustangs, followed by a BMW, a Lexus. That's the first and potentially the only Lexus on grid today. A BMW, a Porsche, another BMW, another Porsche. That's the second McLaren on grid, another Porsche, Ferrari. That's the first Ferrari that we've seen today, I believe. Another Mustang, another Aston Martin, and then the rest of the cars filtering through. It seems like we've got a Lamborghini at the end of the grid there, just coming by to finish off formation lap start. We'll jump back on board with the front of the pack. We'll get ready for the start of the race. Hopefully we have a clean start here at Bathurst. You can see on the right hand side of your screens the track map is looking pretty stacked here at Bathurst. We're getting ready for the start of this race with 35 cars, I believe, ready to get this going. 2 cars in the pit lane, that's Brogan Dyer and Osdes. Car number 343 and car number 38 remaining in the pit lane for this start. Potentially a smart idea, potentially don't want to get involved in any first lap hold-ups. We'll be seeing what Gallo can do to start off this race. Hopefully we'll see him leading across the line for the start for the end of the first lap. And we'll have a look at a few other of these cars during the formation lap. Of course, as I said, there's some beautiful liveries out here on the grid today. Abneg in the Waffles Racing Team, very nice BMW livery there, a lot of texture on that car. We'll see if we can get a nice close-up of that car in just a minute. Decals on that car, very nice livery in that 250 BMW. We'll be seeing what they can do throughout this race. Luca Buttel, a different livery in the ISS Racing Team today. We usually see them in a nice electric blue colour, but it's a white car today with an American horse down the side. That's a lovely American or a lovely Mustang livery there. Of course, got the American theme. That is potentially a good rival for livery award of today's race. We'll be seeing what happens later on through the race. Another Mustang which is looking pretty good. Patrick Krell, the Threshold Racing Team, has another Mustang with a few red decals on there. Daniel Hudson for the JC Racing Esports Team, not got a livery applied to their car at the moment. Of course, I did sync just before this race, so I apologise if the liveries aren't fully accurate. Another car which was pretty good, I believe, was the 4 find their car. It was the car number 455 or so. They had a message on the rear of their car about, I thought was quite funny. Not sure where their car is at the moment though. I can't find them on the sheet, so we'll be seeing if we can see them during the race. But of course, we're rounding out the final few corners now, getting ready, getting in double file for the start of this race. A few more donation penalties, donation ballasts came through just then. We had 30 kilograms, we had 40 kilograms of ballast removed for car 228. We had car 151 have 40 kilograms removed, and car 301, of course, having 5 kilograms removed as well. Heading round the final corner then, cars are in double file, ready for the start of this race. It'll be Gallo leading us in towards turn 1, followed by Mercedes of Vagabupt in P2. We're racing next to each other towards the start of this race. We'll jump on board with Helicam. The lights will be going green in just a second. It will be ready to go. And now the green light is go. The cars will be racing down into turn 1. It's been a good start from Wave up there in the Mercedes. It looks like Gallo will be behind coming out of the first corner. The Audi going around the outside there, potentially putting a challenge in towards P2 as well. Gallo drops down to P3. The Mercedes is getting an excellent start up into P1 at the moment. They are leading the grid by quite a ways, about half a second back towards that Audi, but we see that Gallo is making an attempt on that Audi. They're looking to get that position back using the Mustang pace and speed down that straight. Audi does have the inside line though, so he's able to take that corner much more nicer, and of course that Mustang will just have to flutter behind and get ready for the rest of the race. Of course, first few corners have gone very well. Looks like the track map is clear so far, which is good to see. You can see the rest of the cars filtering through the corners just behind Gallo here, and of course we'll wait for the grid to order itself and see where the positions have been made. Just further back then, looks like Maddie Garcia is in the middle of a battle at the moment between 2 Mustangs. The Mustang in front of Lecage is defending P6, and of course Paoletti in P8 is looking for a couple of positions gained there as well. Did lose 1 position since the start of this race, so that Mustang is looking to gain a bit of time back, but looks clean so far. Look at that track map on the right side. Ooh, the yellow flag there, car number 2 has had an issue. We'll see if we can jump on board with them and see what's happened there. Seem to be stationary on the right hand side of the circuit there, but thankfully no other cars are involved. They'll be able to get going once again and get themselves back up towards the front of the field. Dive Bomb SRT Endurance there, unfortunately losing out a little bit from that spin there, but nothing else too major happening, which is good to see. Victor Ravenko once again having to defend that P3 position. Gallo dropping back since the start of this race, and the race is now being led by Xavi Wakeupt in the Darkbomb SRT Endurance. So it's a front of the grid and a rear of the grid for the Darkbomb SRT Endurance team. It's got Xavi Wakeupt leading the race in the car number 101, and then the teammate of McGovern following up the pack in the car number 2. So it's a race going well and not well for Darkbomb SRT at the moment, but of course 24 hours to go. You have an entire day to find out your positions, an entire day to set your positions. It was a very good start of the race for these guys, and of course Gallo will be looking to gain back these positions. The drivers to keep you around today, of course, is the car number 343, if I can find them. Brogan Dyer, they're looking for a position change into turn 1 on that Aston Martin. They're taking that position nicely. 27 for Brogan Dyer. Obviously, Brogan started from the pit lane, so he's making his way up the grid to try and do as best as he can. In P27 at the moment, with the position change between Seibert and I believe that was Barl up in front in that Porsche, but the position is being challenged once again by Barl, looking for a position up the inside, but then having to sort of filter in behind. There's been a little bit of a spin. Oh, it's an unfortunate position for Carnival 228 there, unfortunately having a little bit of a pile-up as a result, but it seems like most cars have got going again, so there's a gap on the circuit. Unfortunately to see from Fermi there, getting spun around by a BMW at the inside, I believe. Of course the stewards will be looking into that, but unfortunate to see. That gap is now 5 seconds between Schranker and Fermi, so hopefully they're able to gain back some time. Jumping back up to the front, Klimchak is on the rear of the Mustang, looking to gain as much time as he can. It'll be difficult down this straight. Of course, the Mustang has the majority of that straight line speed in that car, and he's doing very well with that capability. It looks like a position move up the right-hand side of the Mustang there. And that Mustang was able to brake later, but goes wider on the corner, and that will be a position gain for Martes Klimchak there. Able to take that position, get the switch back on that Mustang. Mustang just broke a little bit too late. Was actually ended up losing a position to Zanet Lekaj as well there. Unfortunately losing 2 positions out of that, but of course 23 hours remain, plenty of time to make those position changes. Seeing what else they can do. It's fairly close at the moment between Luca Buttol and Daniel Hudson as well. Daniel Hudson having a little bit of a sneak peek up the inside there, but not able to get anything out of it. All on the rear of that Mustang, a little bit loose on the rear end out that first corner from Daniel Hudson there, but we'll jump on board with them as they go towards the second corner of Bathurst. Looking for a position change of car number 155. This is the battle for P10 at the moment. Looks like it was a break there from Buttol, actually deciding to take the safe option of not going side by side through the mountain, which is of course quite a smart idea. But that has promoted Hudson up into P10 at the moment. We'll be seeing what they can do. About 1.5 seconds back from Schrengler in P9 at the moment. Buttol has a fairly comfortable gap behind of 4 seconds to P12, so they're definitely made the right decision there not to go side by side and lose out too much time in the mountain section. But we're keeping an eye on them. Obviously the ISS racing team very successful here in ACM. I believe they are sort of the top 5 in a few of our endurance races, or in a few of our endurance series this year as well, so it's good to see them back on the grid for the 24 hours of Bathurst. £104 has been raised so far. The British Heart Foundation is of course an excellent charity, the biggest independent funder of research cardiovascular disease in the UK, so of course you do want to check them out. The link to them is in chat, and the pinned link in chat as well is the fundraising page for today's race. You'll see the donations popped up on there live, and you'll see everything being gone through there, so good to see so far. Like I said, plenty of racing that has also happened. Klimchak is now looking for his next position gain on the next Mustang in front. That the Mustang of Gallo that will be defending the free position on track, but Gallo is actually looking for a position change on Ravenko now at the moment as well. We'll be seeing how that one goes along. It seems like a very good start from Vagerhaupt at the start of this race. Was able to get up the inside of Gallo, was able to take that first place position, and then was able to just pull away as a result of Ravenko and Gallo battling out behind. So Vagerhaupt has a 1 second lead at the moment, very comfortable in their position, looking to just keep it steady, keep it clean and consistent for the rest of this race, and it'll be a very good result for that team. jump aboard the wing of Ravenko. We'll see what that Mustang is doing just behind it. Must be looking quite angry in the mirrors there. You can see the smile on the front of that Mustang, looking quite menacing. The racing lines down the front of that Mustang as well, adding a few brake horsepower to that car. Looking very steady through this section here. The Audi, of course, not a car that's seen often in ACC, but very spectacular when we do see it. Ravenko, one of the fastest drivers that we have here in ACM, so taking the Audi for a spin, able to use it quite well. Mustang definitely a popular car for today's race here at Bathurst though. Of course, the only balance of performance that we've got active today is donation ballast. People can purchase ballast, people can purchase penalties, and the ballast that is purchased will be what is ran for the race. Gallo now actually defending from Klimchak. Klimchak was able to gain a bit of time up in the mountain section of Bathurst there, and is now getting the slipstream from that Mustang, potentially going to be a mirrored image of the previous few laps ago. Klimchak was able to get the switch back on the Mustang. Mustang makes that corner this time. Doesn't too wide, touches a bit of grass on the right hand side of the track, touches a bit of grass on the left hand side of the track, but nothing too major. Actually looks like they're gaining time on Klimchak there, as they are breaking down towards the final corner. Fairly stagnant up at the front, but further back towards the rear of the grid, Garcia seems to have had, and they're going into the pit lane. There's quite a bit of damage on that Aston Martin, so they're making an early pit stop and getting ready for this race. Seeing how they come out. Of course, there is a 65-minute stint timer active on today's race, so we'll be seeing quite a few people come into the pit lane in about 50 minutes or so. Lap times here of 2 minutes at Bathurst. It's not too bad with the stint timer. Of course, if you were racing at Nordschleife, you have to be careful with stint timers, and those 8-minute lap times usually coming in after about 7 or so laps. Gallo looking for that position change on the Audi, no longer defending from Klimchak, forcing Ravenko to defend instead. See them winding and weaving through Bathurst here. The Audi is certainly very fast through these corners, actually gaining some time on the Mustang there, which is good to see. Jump on board with the Mustang, we'll see what we can see. And the Audi pushing it to the absolute limits, using as much of the track as they can here. Good run through that final corner as well, going to be able to make the most out of that run compared to the Mustang. Obviously the Mustang has that beefy engine up front, so he's able to gain quite a lot on these straights. A bit of network lag there for Ravenko. So hopefully it's not too major. It's supposed to be stable now, which is good. Car number 455 is just leaving the pit lane now. Of course, that was Matty Garcia that unfortunately had to come into the pit lane on the third lap of the race. But they're leaving the pit lane now. They're getting ready to finish off this race. Of course, 24 hours to go, plenty of time to make positions up, time for changes to happen. So good to see them carrying on, and they're getting ready for the rest of the race. Jump back on board with Gallo now, back up in at the top positions. Of course, if you are in chat, if you want us to review a specific car or a specific team, let us know, and we can do. Plenty to talk about here at the 24 Hours of Bathurst. Seifert is side by side at the moment, so once again having a battle with Val. Porsche versus Porsche here, 9.6 versus 6. They're going through the start finish straight. Mustang looking for a position there as well, but looks like nothing will be able to be made into turn 1. That's Brogan Dyer in the Mustang there, looking for another position gain. A little bit unsteady there from the number 6 Porsche. It seems like Brogan Dyer will be able to make the most of that, looking for a move up the left hand side of the track, with the outside into the next corner, but I don't think it'll be an issue for this. It seems like, yeah, Brogan Dyer already ahead of one Porsche. Now for the second Porsche, got plenty of slipstream, and of course has minus 40 kilograms of ballast on that Mustang as well, and was able to make that position. Once again, battling with 96 and 6, the two Porsches side by side, now single file through the mountain section. It was an easy job for Brogan Dyer. They're making use of the slipstream, making use of the ballast, and get themselves past nice and clean. Their next target, of course, Peltari, up in P15, fastest lap of the race so far from Brogan Dyer as well, so successful going so far. Porsche number 96 of Ball getting a little bit unsteady there, potentially giving number 6 a little bit of an advantage. We'll jump back on board with number 6 here, and we'll see what they can see. Look how close they are between each other. Don't get too distracted by the car in front as they're going down the mountain section, taking it very steady there from Seafert, choosing the smart decision just to back off a little bit. Those cars were very close heading down the mountain section, but once again, ready for the final corner, braking just into the left hand side nicely, not losing too much of the wall on the right hand side. And it's going to be a drag race down towards the second to last corner here. Speed that Seafert is carrying, you can hear the engine just groaning from how much RPM is going through that car, but no change was made on that one there. The Porsches are of course fairly even as they stand. A little bit of grass touching from both cars there, but nothing too major. Braking just above 50 metre board, a lot later on the brakes for Seafert there, again a little bit of time, but it seems like it'll be a nicer exit for car number 96 in front, so nothing too significant between these guys. Further back, there's been a position change. Luna Trenker seemed to have had a little bit of an incident in the third to last corner there. That Porsche transmission racing team having a bit of damage on the front of that car. Nothing too major though. They're now in T2. Jacob Truckee and Bird are looking for a position change. Bird did just get past Tuckey up into P20. It's looking like Tuckey's wanting to take that position back. Nothing so far. That Mustang, of course, very fast down these straights. Gallo still in P3, back up in front, still looking to put pressure on Ravenko up front. Of course, as I said, Ravenko, a very fast driver here with ACM. They have plenty of experience. Plenty of experience racing against Mustangs as well, so seeing how they can compete. You see just the amount of speed that that Mustang is carrying though, and the amount of time that they are able to gain on this straight. Heading down towards the third to last corner now, braking both at the same time there. The Mustang keeping it tight towards those corners. Ravenko nicely not losing any time there as well. Towards the final corner now. Early break there from the Mustang, just taking it steady and cautious, getting a nice corner through there actually. Not missing too much of the exit curve. Maybe a stagnant P1 to P2, P3 at the moment. No changes as of yet. Further back down. John Porter did lose a position there, so they seem to be going a little bit slowly in at the Aston Martin. A little bit of damage on the front of that car. Got the total R stickers on the back of that car as well. Lovely livery from car number 999. They did lose that position to Rupsov there, and steady into the final corner of the mountain there as well. But hopefully they're able to get back to racing usually and able to have a good rest of the race. JCNG having a little bit of difficulty there through the final few corners, losing out on a position, a little bit of damage on the front of that car as well. Hopefully nothing too significant. Final corner seemingly steadily though. Matthias Seifert still looking for a position change on Bal. Bal able to pull off a little bit of time. There's now 4/10 between those guys. Nothing changing so far. A very strong corner from Matthias Seifert. They're gaining a load of time. Those 10s that Bal have gained have now been nullified. Seifert back a little bit there. A little bit more visibility off the track. Breaking down towards the corner. Both Porsches jostling for this P17 position. Seifert very close to the rear of Bal's car there, but it's going to be who's going to get the better exit. A little bit of a wall touch there from Bal in front. Seifert looking to gain as much time as they can out of this. It's going to be a slipstream down towards this corner, but I'm not sure what it will be. Porsche versus Porsche. There's a couple of kilometres an hour difference at the moment. It's going to be a few more kilometres an hour difference. Pulls out to the left hand side, loses a bit on the slipstream. looks toward the left-hand side of the circuit, side by side through the fast right hander. They're both braking similarly. Seems like Ball broke a little bit later. They get some steady through that corner though. There's no position, no gap for Matthias Seifert to take that position, and actually that's allowed Fermi to go through and take that position. So number 228 BMW there taking advantage of that battle and get themselves up into P18. So Seifert unable to make the most of the mistake by Bar and actually losing out a little bit from that. So now it's Fermi in the hands trying to get past Bar. We'll be seeing what they can do with this position, but Bar does have quite a significant gap now, about 7 tenths to Fermi behind. Further up towards the front of the grid, Gallo did make their way past Klimchak. So they are now in P2, about 1 second back from Baghopt. Apologies, I did miss that overtake from Gallo there. I wasn't aware that it was so close. Klimchak now down in P3. I think there's actually more of a change of that. Ravenko is now down in P6. Ravenko, of course, was originally in P2. Now down in P6. There's a bit of damage on the front of that Audi there as well, so potentially an incident between Ravenko and Gallo, or maybe Ravenko losing it himself. But as I said, Ravenko, a very strong driver here at ACM, so it'd be rare for a mistake to be made. But they're still at P6, still plenty of time left in this race, still plenty of positions for them to gain. Interesting to see, nevertheless. Gallo does come through the first corner now, though. Second back from Baghopt. The last lap was 2 tenths faster by Gallo, so 2 tenths slowly but surely getting up towards that P1 position, getting ready for some more battling. Klimchak just staying within touch of those guys on front, about 3 seconds back now, but still able to see them on the straight. You can see as they come out of the corner, 2 cars in front there. Klimchak in a strong position as it is in P3, so it doesn't need too much more battling to go ahead. As mentioned, this race is a fundraiser for the British Heart Foundation, this independent funder of research into cardiovascular disease in the UK. A very good charity, a very charity that helps a lot of people out there. So if you do want to donate, you do want to see some battling happening on the grid, you can donate some ballast, you can donate some penalties to drivers, and you can sort of force some drivers to the pit lane, stuff like that. So if you do want to donate something, you do want to change the order a little bit, acm-racing.com/fundraiser is the place to go. You'll be able to see what can happen through that. We've so far raised about £104 in this race. Our target for today is, of course, £1,000, so we've got about £900 left to go. 23 hours left of this race. Plenty of racing left to go, plenty of fundraising to go through. And of course, during this race as well, there are things called crazy hours, which is where the donation penalties will be applied immediately. Those are every 6 hours in the race, so from the 19th to the 18th hour, from the 13th to the 12th, from the 7th to the 6th, from the last hour to the 10 minutes remaining marker. All penalties will be applied immediately during those hours, and the other ones, the 55th minute of the hour, will be used for donation penalties. So, as I said, acm-racing.com/fundraiser is the place to go. You'll be able to donate, give some drivers some penalties, give some drivers some ballast, and see what you can do. There's a bit of a battle going on at the moment in P10, 11 and 12. Adam Nagy is looking at the inside of Camper 487, having to back out a little bit there. Brogan Dyer able to make the most of that, going through up into P10 now. Brogan Dyer, of course, starting from the rear of the grid, climbing up into the top 10 within 20 minutes of this race start. Very successful race so far for Brogan Dyer, which is good to see. A bit of a scramble here. Looks like the Mustang of Bejan is looking for a move on Usmanov as well. Usmanov in the Lexus has now filtered in behind that Mustang, so it's going to be a slipstream battle throughout this race. The BMW in front is obviously going to be hitting a brick wall of air and giving it to both the Mustang and the Lexus. That Mustang up the inside now, trying to gain that position. Looks like that position will be gained. The Lexus is the one that's now trying to gain that position. It's side by side throughout the corner, so the BMW is backed off a little bit, which is the smart decision to make. Good to see as well. Excellent racing from these guys. Uzmanov up into P13 now. Adam Nagy dropped down into P14. And Christian Bejan Proton Competition, who are on board with at the moment, up into P12. So Sprengler in the Honda is in P11. They have dropped 2 positions since the start of this race. They did start in P9, so they have dropped a few. Of course, one of those being Brogan Dyer in front, who has gained 24 since the start of this race, which is incredible to see. Some other big gainers from this race. Daniel Hudson has gained 7 positions since the start of this race, which is very successful going. I got a few other drivers as well. Jacob Tucky for Rosso Esports going up 8 positions. Alex Soldier going up 8 positions as well. And then we've got Ezra Fox there gaining 5 positions since the start of this race. So very successful going for everyone. Very good to see between these drivers. We'll see what else can happen. Gallo has caught up with Davi now. So we're seeing potentially a battle brewing between these two at the moment, though. Gallo is looking for a slipstream towards turn 2 at Bathurst. That Mustang using all of its horsepower, gain as much as they can. Flag there, and they're on the inside, actually losing a little bit of time for Gallo there, but nothing too major. Further back, it's still the battle going on between Buttel and Hudson. Hudson has recently overtaken Buttel. Buttel is now looking for that position to be returned. A refund on that overtake. The inside, letting off a little bit, just taking a smart decision not to risk anything major throughout these corners. Usmanov in the Lexus, still looking for a position change / battle on Invasion in front. Invasion, of course, overtook about 2 laps ago. Apologies about the audio, let me know if that's any better. And these cars are a bit loud, of course, the Mustang being one of those. But Gallo now all the way up and ready for the change into P1. We're in a battle here. Of course, once again, that smile on the front of that Mustang will be menacing in the mirrors of the Vega Haupt in front. On board the front of this Mustang here, you can see the logos for the British Heart Foundation on the car in front as well. Absolutely spectacular to see. Going to be the Mustang looking to get a good exit out of here, not get caught up with that car leaving the pit lane as well. Seems like Xavi unfortunately had to take some avoiding action there. That seems that will be advantage towards Fabrizio there. You see the slipstream, see the kilometers an hour being gained. 0.2, 0.1, braking at the same time, wasn't able to get up alongside the Mercedes on that straight, but of course a lot closer now than they were at the start of this lap. Absolutely love that livery of Xavi in front. Beat heartbreak forever, fight for every heartbeat. That's what this race is all about. Fundraiser for the British Heart Foundation. Rizzo Gallo looking to steal that position though, putting some pressure on Xavi in front. Of course, here at Bathurst, when you got a Mustang looking like that in your mirrors, it's going to be pretty menacing. We'll jump on board and see what the mirrors are like. Actually, you can see that smile on that Mustang at the top of your screens. Quite menacing, looking quite distracting as well, but Xavi is putting in a masterful performance at the moment for the Diplo SRT. Keeping it nice and clean, keeping it steady. Being a position change further back, Roman Sprengler and Adam Nagy have swapped positions. Sprengler now down in P12, of course Sprengler started in P9, so has dropped a few positions, touched the wall there, got a little bit more damage on that Honda since the start of this race, but we'll see what else they can do. Paoletti has unfortunately had a little bit of an incident there as well. ISS Racing has dropped back down into P8 so far, dropped 3 positions from where they were. There's a bit of damage on the front end of that Mustang, potentially going to be coming into the pit lane now as well. You got the teammate of Buttel just behind them, the 2 ISS Racing Team Mustangs. Potentially just going to be a position given there. Yes, it is. Carletti not holding up the teammate, allowing themselves to get through. Will they dive into the pit lane and repair the damage? No, they won't. They'll be sticking out. That was a bit of decision making there from Carletti, but I think the decision was to stay out. I don't think the damage is too bad. There's been a position change there for Brogan Dyer and Daniel Hudson as well. Brogan Dyer able to make that position change on the Mustang. Mustang versus Mustang drag race through here. Of course, Daniel Hudson does have the slipstream heading down the straight, but I think Brogan Dyer with the minus 40 kilograms of ballast is just too fast to have any competition with. Spengler is now in the pit lane as well. Of course, we saw a little bit of damage and the wall tap from that Honda on the previous lap, so potentially too much damage for that Honda to continue. Uzmanov is also in the pit lane. Whoa, loads of damage on that Lexus as a whole. I was going to say the front, and then the camera panned to the rear of that car, and the back bumper was hanging off. So definitely an incident that happened there for Artem, but they'll be able to repair that damage, get back out on track, and of course get back to racing. Up front, I'll have a look. There's been a little bit of ACC race control bug in there. It actually told me that Ravenko was in P1, which I was quite surprised about, but he is still in P3. He's made the position change over Krimchak. Krimchak has potentially made a mistake somewhere. There's a little bit of damage on the front of that McLaren, and they're now about 8 seconds back from Ravenko. So Ravenko back in P3. 15 seconds back from P2 though. Gallo looking to get back into P1. Car number 38 appears to be a yellow flag on that last corner as well. The old Mercedes, car number 38, Kerem Ozdes. Been a yellow flag as well for car number 742. I'll just see if I can see them on my timing screen. 742, that's Ezra Fox. Looking like it's very difficult to control that car there. Lamborghini has a significant amount of damage on the front of that car, and potentially a little bit of suspension damage in there as well. Hopefully not in the way of any drivers sticking to the left-hand side of the circuit there safely, and able to get back around that final corner, get back to the pit lane nice and safely. Good to see. Back up at the front, Hudson has been overtaken by Lekaj. Lekaj looking to gain back those positions that they lost at the start of the race. And has gained themselves P6 so far. Getting down Brogan Dyer. Brogan Dyer, of course, making the most of those minus 40 kilograms of ballast. Of course, if anyone wants to give Brogan Dyer and car 343 a penalty, give them a bit of ballast, more than welcome to acm-racing.com/fundraiser. By donating to charity, you can give Brogan Dyer some additional weight. Gallo certainly quite close to that Mercedes now. Still no change of position though, a little bit further back from where we previously saw. Still a fight for the position. Every lap of the race led by Xavi so far. Speed-trap fastest so far is of course from Brogan Dyer with 292 kilometers an hour in this race, and that's closely followed up by P2 actually with 290 kilometers an hour. So it's interesting to see that those minus 40 kilograms is only impacted 2 kilometers an hour on the straight. I believe the speed trap is towards that final sector 3 braking zone, or just before then. Daniel Hudson still having a battle with Lekaj in front. Looking to gain as much speed through that slipstream, pulling out into the clean air actually from Daniel Hudson there. slipping back into the slipstream. Looking at the inside, not making a move though, a little bit too far back for Daniels making a move there. Lecage not too close to the apex, but not a bad corner for them. Car number 67. Ooh, move up the inside there. Car number 67 goes wide and allows Daniel Hudson to look up the inside. There's a potential look at the inside there from Butol as well. All three cars are having a battle for that P6 position. Mustang versus Mustang versus Mustang, all three breaking down into the corkscrew now though, and Daniel Hudson trying to keep that Mustang steady as they're following on behind Lecage. Potentially going to be a straight for Butol to gain some places here, but they seem to be a little bit far back from Hudson. Hudson has a very nice line throughout this final corner, which did not touch the wall on the exit there, potentially a little bit of a lift just to avoid hitting that barrier, but they will have the slipstream down this straight. It's a very long straight to go down. He's gaining, he's gonna move out to the right hand side of the curb there and losing control. Unfortunate to see from Daniel Hudson there, just touching that curb, Mustang taking flight and not able to maintain control of that car, losing out a little bit of time, losing out a bit of damage and losing out a few positions as well. Butol did of course gain that position and is now looking to put the pressure on Lecage in front, but Lecage can breathe a sigh of relief. 2.5 seconds is clear to Butol. Butol has to deal with the blue flag in front as well. Beltari now looking for a position change as well. Kral in front. Both keeping it steady through this first corner. 23.5 hours remain of this race, still at £104 donated to the British Heart Foundation. Of course, this race does have donation penalties, donation ballast, so if you want to see some drivers get some penalties, you want to add some ballast to people or take away from one of the teams, you can do so. acm-racing.com/fundraiser. You'll be able to donate, you'll be able to give some money to charity. Been a position change. Wegerhut and Gallo swaps positions. I'll see if I can see that actually. Just there, I believe that was on the straight line speed from that Mustang. Just too much between those guys. So all over the rear of that car. We'll jump on board Helicam and see what we can see. Caught by a blue flag as well there. So that's potentially what led to that. It's the Mustang right behind that Mercedes there as they come down the straight. We'll jump on board the wing. You see the Mustang there with that smile on its face. Diverting to the right hand side of the circuit. It's going to be side by side towards the third to last corner. As it seems like that Mustang was just able to gain the position long before the straight. Wegerhut is now of course able to put that pressure back onto the Mustang. Mustang still has to deal with the blue flags in front as well, so all is still to be played for here in P1. Brogan Dyer just made a position change in P1 as well. Klimchak was able to, lost out on that position into the first corner there. Still looking to put on the pressure. Brogan Dyer, of course, starting from the rear of the grid, now has 10 seconds to gain towards Ravenko. Ravenko 15 seconds back from the top two. Top two literally tenths apart from each other, so very close racing so far from these guys, which is lovely to see. A little bit of caught up. Fortunate to see from that blue flag there. A little bit of blocking from that blue flag, so a little bit of penalty from the stewards, which is unfortunate to see. That did mean that Xavi Wegerhut did have to lose out a little bit of time there, getting caught up again by another blue flag, which is unfortunate to see. Of course, Bathurst, very difficult track for blue flags to do anything here. Our recommendation was of course to do so on the straight. Seems like that transmission Aston Martin is not willing to give positions up easily though, so at the moment Gallo is able to drive cleanly and carefully up in P1. They'll be very comfortable in that position for a little while. That's 3.2 seconds to Xavi behind that they've got at the moment. We'll be seeing whether Xavi can catch up or not. The inside of that blue flag now though, able to get past without issue. Baltari on the rear of Corral as well, looking for a position change in P10. This race is of course sponsored by G-Portal, the providers of this today's race server. They could be your provider soon as well. G-Portal offers premium game servers with the best hardware, a clear web interface and fair prices. If you do want to check them out, g-portal.com. I'll post a link in the chat. That's our referral code for G-Portal as well. Helps out support ACM, helps us put on these fantastic races. So of course you are looking for a racing server or you're looking for any gaming server for that matter, then look no further than G-Portal. Baltari dropped off a little bit from Corral there. Adam Nagy looking for a position back on Hudson in front though. About 0.4 seconds between these guys. So it's been a fantastic race so far. The first half an hour, 35 minutes of this race, we've not had a single car that's not within 1 second of another driver, which is good to see. Plenty of battles that have gone on, plenty of damage that has been had as well by some drivers. Kind of 187 just above having a little bit of an incident there as well. They're caught up on the inside of that corner, so hopefully these guys are able to get through okay. Seems like that McLaren will be able to get going again now, which is good to see. Of course, Adam Nagy looking for Daniel Hudson's P9, P8 position. A bit of a wall touch there from the Mustang in front. BMW able to make the most of that. Backing off a little bit into the corkscrew though, potentially saw the blue flag ahead and decided to sort of back off a little bit. Smart decision to make this early into a 24-hour race, of course. That Mustang getting massively caught up by that blue flag there. That's potentially one that the stewards will look at for sure. They're pulling off to the side now though, allowing these guys to get through, but that was quite a hold up there from that Ferrari. That speed gain from Adam is significant though, looking for a dive down the inside. It's going to be a long shot down the inside of that car. Going to be side by side out the corner though, and that is a position gain from Adam there. So Waffles Racing Team up into P8, a fantastic move there that was made by that BMW. The Mustang not able to do much to defend against that. A beautiful dive by the BMW, using as much of the speed as they had available, making that position nice and clean, and that'll be seemingly P8 and P9 secured for the next few laps at least. 20 minutes until the stint timer for the first hour ends. We'll see most cars come into the pit lane within about 25 minutes or so, seeing what those positions are coming out. Baltari still looking for a position change on Corral in front. Pressure on. Been a position change between Tranca and Paoletti. Paoletti, of course, having an incident earlier, already been in the pits. So Salise in front as well. So Paoletti, ooh, that's unfortunate to see Paoletti being involved in another incident there, getting taken out after I think going across the grass there, which is unfortunate to see. I'll see if we can see that on a quick replay. So coming down out of the second to last corner. Potentially a long dive from, just too fast into that corner, unfortunately. Making a mistake, getting spun out by the other Mustang as well, straight into the barrier, which is unfortunate to see from Paoletti, but they're still going. Not too much damage on that car, hopefully. So they're able to just keep it steady. Brogan Dyer now 30 places up since the start of this race. Car number 343 up into P4, 5.7 seconds back from Ravenko at the moment. Of course, that has been increased from 10 seconds, so 5 seconds gained so far over the previous few laps. Xavi Weghut is back up in the rear of Gallo's car. After putting on so much pressure onto other drivers, Gallo is now having the pressure put onto him. Of course, good to see from Gallo, a good comeback from them. They started this race in P1, lost P1 on the first corner, went down into P3 at one point, then fought back both of those positions, and are now back in P1. They have about a 0.7 second gap to P2, and have about 20 minutes left of the stint timer as well. So we'll be seeing what we can do throughout the rest of this. It's harsh braking zone done. Both cars coming out of that corner, trying to gain a good exit before the final corner. 0.5 seconds between these two. Xavi definitely has the speed to take that Mustang on, but will they be able to find the time to get close enough to put some pressure on? We'll be able to see that on this straight. The Mercedes will obviously have the straight line speed advantage on this one. Let's just have a listen at the engine and all of the torque that's going through it. Pushing right to the top end of that Mercedes, looking to gain as much as they can on the Mustang. 0.4 seconds at the moment. I might potentially drop back a little bit. The Mustang got a better exit on the previous one. Yeah, 0.5, 0.6 tenths now. That's a very good corner from Xavi though. 0.4 seconds that it is now. There's a yellow flag in front as well. Car number 2 seems to have had an incident at some point. Seems like they are stationary on the outside of the corkscrew, so they'll need to find a good spot to rejoin. That's not a good spot to rejoin. They're moving out of the way, just getting in the way. Mustang there. It's so difficult to rejoin racing there. Both P1 and P2 able to filter through carefully though, and McGovern is back racing. Dive on SRT, almost crashing into their teammate there as they're fighting P1. Another blue flag in front, hopefully giving way on the exit of this corner. Benefit Xavi though, giving them a little bit of a slipstream down this straight. Harsh braking into that corner. No change so far, very close between these two, 0.1 tenths that it is so far. At the final corner, it's Gallo leads Weghut. Looking to the inside there, moving back into single file. Just a little bit of grass there on the entry from Xavi in the number 101. Jumping back on Peltari, they're still putting pressure on the Mustang in front. No position change between these guys as of yet. Board with Xavi. Morgan is looking for a position change on Ravenko as well. Quite tight between those blue flags there, but both cars were able to get through nice and steadily. Gallo all getting put under pressure by Xavi there. Xavi all over the rear of that Mustang, trying to get in as close as that camera as they can. Seems like Gallo is going to have a good exit at that corner, so no significant change between there. It seems like Brogan Dyer was caught up by blue flags or something during the corkscrews. They're now 3 seconds back from Ravenko, so no major change there. Peltari still 0.3 back from Kral. 0.5 that it is now. We'll jump on board back with the P1 P2 battle as it's heating up. Seems like a little bit wide there for Xavi. Xavi's not going to be able to make anything out of that, and that'll give a big advantage to Gallo there as well. Tranker has been into the pit lane. Coming out of the pit lane now, they're down in P21 as a result. Potentially repairing some damage, or maybe even an early pit stop for these guys. Of course, there's about 15 minutes left of the stint timer, so these guys will be needing to come into the pit lane over the next quarter of an hour. Working down in towards the final corner, Sample Peltari all over the rear of that Mustang. Mustang just looking to maintain their P10 position. Bit of lift in there from Sample Peltari. Gap has certainly widened for Xavi now, but they are slowly but surely getting that back. A lot of time gained through that corner there. The Mustang just ahead. Through the corkscrew as well, so much time gained. 0.7 tenths between those two drivers. Mercedes certainly a strong car here at Bathurst. Certainly a loud car as well. That engine is just beautiful to hear. The Mustang does compete on engine sound. I think we've got a very similar engine sound between those two cars. But of course, engine sound doesn't matter when you're dragging down the back straight to Bathurst. It's going to be the Mercedes looking for a slipstream in towards the hard braking zone in Sector 3. I mean, no change so far. Much good livery on that Mercedes though. All the intricate details that are on there. Real look to the inside, flash the lights there from Xavi. Not able to make anything of it though. A bit of curve on the inside, losing out a little bit of time there actually. You see the Mustang just pulling away slightly from them. It was a faster lap time by 4 tenths from Xavi that previous lap though. Gallo setting a 2:01.5, Brogan Dyer setting a 2 minute 3 second .2, so potentially losing out a little bit of consistency there. But we'll jump back on board with these two. Xavi all over the rear of that Mustang, looking to gain as many kilometers an hour over a second as they can. As they are basically pushing that Mustang along the straight, looking to the outside. It's not going to be a move around the outside there for Xavi, but it was an attempt, it was a look, it was a bit of pressure that was put on. Seeing more of that throughout the rest of this race. Very good to see there from Xavi, putting the pressure onto Gallo. Gallo of course put plenty of pressure onto Xavi earlier on in this first hour, so it's good to see it being returned by the Mercedes. Further back down the field, Michael Kusek is relatively close to Baird in front. 0.7 seconds between those. Wide there from Michel Kusek. I believe this is the only Ferrari, oh sorry, the one of two Ferraris that are on the grid today. So Kusek taking this challenge on. I do believe as well we have a few solo drivers in this race. There's one team, two teams, there's about 4 or 5 teams which are duos. The highest duo that we've got at the moment is of course Daniel Cataldo and Luca Buttol, both of which currently in P7. Xavi back all over the rear of Gallo. Yeah, lovely battle for this P1 spot in this race so far. I'm hoping this continues throughout the rest of this 23-hour race. Mustang actually pulling away there, even though he doesn't have the slipstream in front. He's able to pull away from the Mercedes there. It's going to be a lot of blue flags seemingly in front that they're going to have to deal with. So hopefully they can get through carefully, but of course this is the mountain at Bathurst. It is quite difficult to get past blue flags. We'll be seeing how they deal with them. Gallo on the rear of the Ferrari at the moment. Ferrari unfortunately getting knocked out there, braking I think in front of that car. Stewards will look into it. Anyways, as I said, it's quite difficult to let faster cars go through here. There's Mercedes off on the side of the track there as well. But unfortunately, the Ferrari was taken out there. They're able to get back going though. They're able to get back to racing, which is good to see. But Gallo is now in a more comfortable position to fight these blue flags in front. Or to get past these blue flags, I should say. A bit of a train of Mustangs in front of us though. Mustangs has gone off track a little bit. They're all able to get into the corner successfully though. That's car number 420 in front. Car number 420 is in P14. That's Jack Baird that's trying to give way nicely. Up the inside for Gallo there. That's one blue flag taken. More in front. I believe that is the fight for potentially P18. With Christian Bejan there, Proton competition just behind Tomorrow in the 184 ISS Racing Team Mustang. Back up at the front, Zavi still 0.4. Altari is actually looking for a few positions here. Kral has caught up to Hudson in front. Hudson potentially dropping a bit back from Adam Nagy, which they were having a battle earlier. We'll jump back aboard with Zavi for now though. We'll keep our eye on the battle for P9. Very good corner there from Zavi, able to gain quite a lot of time on the Mustang. Potentially looking for a dive down the outside there. There are two blue flags in front. Ooh, that's bad to see. The Mustang of Gallo broke way too late for that corner there. Just ran into the rear of a blue flag there. I think that was the ISS Racing Team of Tomorrow that was taken out there by the faster car. Stewards, of course, we've been looking at that. There'll be a potential penalty there for Gallo. Unfortunately, there's quite a lot of damage on the front of that Mustang now as well, so that'll give advantage to Zavi. I think Zavi will take that P1 position regardless as a result of any penalties as well. So, interesting to see. With all the heat that's in Europe at the moment, I imagine that Zavi and Gallo are sweating quite ridiculously at the moment. These two have been battling for the majority of this first hour, so they've been focusing quite hard on what's going on. You can see just how close these two are through this mountain section. Going around the final hairpin now, coming out behind a blue flag. Drag race down towards the third sector. Once again, that Mustang just too powerful on the straights for Zavi to do too much about it. Zavi pulling out to the left hand side of the Mustang. We'll jump on the helicam though And it looks like a move up the inside from Xavi. Xavi is now up into P1. The position change has been made. Gallo now back down in P2. Xavi taking back that position which they lost a few minutes ago. Gallo once again having to fight for his P1 position back, but a very nice move there from Xavi. That's been building up to for quite a lot of time, so good to see that he was able to pull that through. Daniel Hudson has been overtaken by Peltari now as well. I think Daniel Hudson potentially had a bit of a mistake or something there. Ravenko has come into the pit lane. Ravenko is the first of the top 10 or so to pit. Ravenko will be the first in the pit lane. That Audi will be taking on some new tyres, putting in some more fuel, and will be resetting the stint timer ready for the last 23 hours of this race. That has promoted Brogan Dyer into P3. Brogan, of course, now chasing down Gallo and Xavi up front. About 8.5 seconds to them. Kral, I think, losing out a few positions from the battle in the previous few laps. He's dropped down as P11 now. Peltari up in P9, Hudson in P10. This is the closest battle at the moment. Of course, Gallo is still chasing behind Xavi. Xavi is dealing with blue flags at the moment. Mustang will hopefully give way throughout this corner, which he does do nicely. Gallo might potentially be held up here. Loses a little bit more time to Xavi up front. So I think actually Gallo's going to the pit lane, getting the undercut from Xavi up front. So as they head into the pit lane, braking for that 50 mile an hour board there. That'll be the second pit stop for the top 10. Xavi will potentially be looking at when they want to pit. Of course, Gallo did have a little bit of damage on the front of their car, so they'll potentially be pitting for damage reduction as well, which will of course add on to the time in the pit lane. Xavi is free to focus on this lap though, free to focus on getting it as clean as possible. Go back down the field. Kral still within 1 second of Hudson, but no change made there so far. Kral did of course lose out a few positions in the previous few laps. Again though, another very nice livery on track with us. The rest of the people come into the pit lane. We've got Gallo in there, we've got Lekaj in there. Brogan Dyer will be coming into the pit lane soon, potentially this lap, potentially the next lap. Gallo out of the pit lane now. Dudek is now in the car that Ravenko was in, so the Schmidt R1 racing team has switched their driver for the second hour. Tobias Dudek in P6 looking for some more positions. Got about 9 seconds back from Gallo at the moment, so a little bit of a gap, but not too big of a gap. We'll see. Did Gallo repair the damage? Yes, Gallo did repair the damage and has swapped over as well to Vincenzo Senatore now as well, which is good to see, a change in driver for that team. Kral now 0.2 seconds back from Hudson, and a little bit of time on the previous straight or so. Not doing too well through this section though, touching the wall on the right hand side, getting a little bit unsteady on the left hand side, and losing about a second or so to Hudson. Brogan Dyer, of course, now up in P2, but they do still yet have to pit. We'll see if they have any damage on that Mustang. I think they do have a little bit on the right-hand side at least, so potentially not going to be repairing on this stop. We'll be seeing who this team switches over to. A very strong team here. We've got Brogan Dyer, Ryan Cheshire, who's named himself Squeezy McGee, and Tom Morris-Jones and Stanislav Karzovic, 4 of the fastest drivers to have raced in ACM, all in one team. And of course, they are sat at the moment at minus 40 kilograms. So if you do want to donate some ballast, you do want to see them suffering a little bit from donation penalties, then acm-racing.com/fundraiser, you can donate to the British Heart Foundation and give some people some ballast, give some people some penalties as well. Of course, British Heart Foundation is keeping us beating, the biggest independent fundraiser of research into cardiovascular disease, and they are very significant, and they have helped out a lot of people in ACM, a lot of people around the world due to their research funding. So of course, a very good charity and a very good one to support. If you do want to do so, acm-racing.com/fundraiser, the pinned link in this Twitch stream, and you can donate a penalty or you can donate some ballast to one of the drivers. But Brogan Dyer at the moment is potentially going to be coming into the pit lane. It seems like he'll be darting into the pit lane now. I think it's just too close to call for one more lap. So coming into the pit lane is Xavi Wegehout and Brogan Dyer. Klimchak will be coming across into the pit lane out of this corner as well. Butol, number 155, once he finishes this lap, will be running the pit lane after that as well. I think the person who will be first to pass the pit lane, having already pitted, will be Vincenzo Senatore, so it depends on where Xavi Wegehout and Brogan Dyer will come out of the pit lane. So far they've been stopped for about 20 seconds, so Xavi has about 10 more seconds or so until they are released. There we go, engine started. Xavi Wegehout will be getting ready to go. Potentially a driver change there for those drivers. That's why the camera has just glitched. Jump back on board with Xavi. They're coming down the pit lane. Where is Vincenzo? Vincenzo's coming through the first corner of sector 3. About to come past the pit lane entry. It looks like Xavi will be out well before Vincenzo is. So very strong pit stop there. Jan Straka is now in the car. Jan Straka, another good driver here in ACM. So another strong performer, another strong contender for the win of this race. Brogan Dyer actually coming out in front of Vincenzo Senatore as well. I think the damage repair on the car number 104 Mustang is what's led to that. But 7 seconds to be gained. We'll see if Vincenzo can do anything about it. Brogan Dyer up into P2 though, and about 9 seconds back from Jan Straka up front. So, donation penalties that have come through so far. We've got, say, 10 kilograms for car 101. That's to be added on to car 101. So that's Jan Straka that's up front. That must have been from potentially Vincenzo Senatore's team, adding a bit of weight to that car. Interesting to see. There's been £20 for Team B Motorsports, but we're not sure what that was for. If you are donating, please remember to apply a donation comment to your donation so we know what it's for. We've had £7.50 from an anonymous donation as well. I'm not sure again what that's for, as it has no description. Other than that, we've got minus 40 kilograms for car 228. That's been applied. Minus 40 kilograms for car 151. Minus 5 kilograms for car 301 and minus 40 kilograms to car 403. So most people are removing ballast, most people are adding ballast. There are some time penalties which you can give to others as well. Of course, stop go 30-second penalties. Other stuff like that is very powerful in these races. You lose about 60 seconds or so with a stop go 30-second penalty here at Bathurst. So very crucial to the finishing positions. We'll be seeing plenty of those coming towards the end, hopefully. Spengler is looking for a change of Patrick Krell. Krell looking to defend the P11 position. Zola also looking for a position change as well. Number 228 Nova Racing Team looking for a P8 position. Cooks in front is 5 seconds ahead. Brogan Dyer now in the pit lane, switching over to Ryan Cheshire, also known as Squeezy McGee, who will be leaving the pit lane very shortly. Of course, these guys will be dropping back a few positions as a result. We'll be seeing what they can do in the second stint of this race. Vincenzo Senatore, of course, was in P1, driven by the teammates of Gallo. Now doing the second stint, Senatore for the Big Mac Junior racing team. Not sure what's junior about this team. These guys have been leading the race for the majority of the first hour. About 2 seconds to Straka now. I think Straka has potentially had a crash, and they have. Look at the damage on that thing. Plenty of damage. That bonnet is all over the place for that Mercedes, so that's potentially going to be a pit stop for Straka. Not one that was planned, of course, as look at the amount of damage on the front of that car. It's significant, and they were losing quite a lot of time. You can see there Senatore coming around the corner, going around the outside of Straka there. Straka just managing to keep a hold of that Mercedes. It's going to be a drag race down that straight, but with the amount of drag that bonnet will be giving the Mercedes, it's going to be an easy pass for Senatore there, and Senatore back up into P1. It's going to be an easy position for P1 there, and their only other challenge for P1 is from Dudek, who's now in P3, 12 seconds back. Of course, Straka is going to be entering the pit lane, repairing that damage this lap. Unfortunate to see. Of course, 22 hours, 50 minutes left of this race. Plenty of time to gain back those positions, plenty of time to see what they can do. Brogan Dyer's in chat. Seems that you definitely didn't forget to put fuel in, so that would be why they re-entered the pit lane. Squeezy McGee, Ryan Cheshire now in the car, now chasing down for Cataldo's position. Down the straight, it's going to be Mustang versus Mustang, of course. Minus 40 kilograms is what car 343 has. That was an easy pass for Ryan there, going around the outside of the ISS Racing team and gaining at least a second or so towards the by the end of that strip. Dan Straka definitely in the pit lane now, definitely repairing that car. Significant damage. I don't know what happened specifically to them, but it is unfortunate to see. But they'll be able to get going again. They'll be able to put in some fast lap times and be able to climb back up into P1, P2. Of course, car number 343, who is in P5 at the moment, did do an extra pit stop as well. So we'll be seeing Straka potentially making up a similar amount of positions there. Spengler still putting some pressure on Kral. The gap between those two is about 1 second. I think this is the first time since the start of this race that we haven't had a car within 1 second of another, so certainly a very competitive race that we have had so far. Car number 27 appears to be having a few internet issues, but that seems to be resolved now, thankfully. Car number 742, yellow flag, the corkscrew, hopefully they're out of the way in time. A bit of a unsteady corner from that Mustang there. It was a little bit scary for the Lamborghini, but hopefully these guys are able to get going again. We've got a little bit of time before car 301, but car 301 is quickly approaching. We'll see what they can do now that they've got a little bit of time. Mr. Fox just needs to rejoin carefully and all will be good. Onto some racing then. Sean Squeezy McGee is still climbing. About 5 seconds back from Salise at the moment. Salise is one of the only other cars that has negative ballast applied. bit of a spin there for that Honda. Honda lost out in that position. That was Sprengler that's now having to rejoin the race. The P12, P11 that was changed the position. Tobias Ziemensky is now in the car number 993. Was originally driven, I believe, by Klimchak. The second hour though, Tobias will be looking to gain those positions in P3 at the moment, so strong position so far. 3.4 seconds back from Dudek in number 1 and 2 Audi. Essentially a battle brewing between those guys. Ryan is now up and towards Salise as well. Oh, 4 seconds between these guys. Sure what's going on here. Ryan Cheshire seems to be pulling over to the side of the road and stopping, which is interesting to see. Potentially something in real life that he's had to stop for. He's returned to the pit lane and has actually left the race, which is interesting to see. I'm not sure what that is regarding, but we'll be seeing if they rejoin and seeing where they end up. So that's car number 343 out of contention for this race so far. Jan Straka gaining back those positions. He's made his position move on Sprengler. Sprengler now down in P12. Jan Straka up in 101, up in number 11. Of course, Jan Straka had that incident when they were in P1. They've now dropped back down into P11, but of course are gaining that time back up, and there's 23 hours left of the race, so plenty of time for things to change. A fairly close battle. You just saw Zanet Lekaj just going across the track there. I think they potentially got a little bit unsteady heading down towards the corkscrew. They're only 2.6 seconds back from P7, so potentially something going to be brewing between those guys. Had some more donation penalties come through. Had plus 30 kilograms for car number 101. So car number 101 is certainly getting hit with these penalties. They're obviously now down in P11, so not as significant as previously, but they will have 40 kilograms of ballast applied over the next few minutes. John McGee back in the race. I believe that's Brogan Dyer rejoining for their team, so I'm not sure again what went on with that car, but they'll be heading back out on track. They've already gained up all those positions once, so I'm sure they can do it again, and of course it will be good for us to see some more battling, so hopefully Brogan Dyer will be able to get back out there and get some more track time. Lekaj now 1.7 seconds back from Coops. That BMW in front is slowly having the pressure applied. There's a little bit of a close battle just 2 positions back as well. Daniel Hudson looking for P9, Patrick Corral. Patrick Corral had plenty of pressure applied during the first hour. Daniel Hudson looking to do the similar in the second hour. Ziemensky 4 seconds back from Dudek as well, so potentially going to be a battle for P2. P1 Tentore is very comfortable at the moment, 22 seconds ahead of anyone else. These guys are significant benefactors of this race so far. Daniel Hudson, 1.5 seconds. We'll stick on board with for now, see what this Mustang can do. keeping it tight to that corner there, which is very nicely done, using a little bit of curb on the right hand side. Keeping that Mustang in the view up ahead. Certainly gained a lot of time throughout that section because a little bit wide on the starting corner of the corkscrew, but gains a little bit more time again, so I think Kral is potentially struggling on this one. I'm not sure whether Kral is doing this race solo. No, they're in a team of 5 drivers, so potentially going to be a driver change at the end of this. We'll see. There is one solo driver, I believe, in today's race, trying to do 24 hours of Bathurst solo. Let me just see if I can find that car. There it is. Jacob Tucky for the Rosso Esports team is doing this race solo, taking this race on in the Mercedes. 24 hours of Bathurst by themselves. Quite a feat to do, quite a difficult one to do as well. 24 hours solo. We've seen it before in ACM, we've seen some strong results from solo 24 hours before in ACM as well, so it'll be interesting to see where Tucky can finish. Lekaj all over the rear of Coops at the moment though. Coops has a significant amount of damage on the front of that BMW. You saw just as they headed into that corner there, actually that might have been a blue flag, I think that BMW in front has the damage. So ignore everything that I've said, but car number 151, the BMW just in front of them, is the position change for P7. Blue flag backs off there, just allows Zanet to go through. And we jump on board with Ziemensky as well. Ziemensky has caught up to the Audi in P2, is looking to start a fight for that position. Jump on board both of these battles though. We'll stay on board with Lekaj for now. Lekaj was all over the rear of that BMW on the exit of that corner, but has to drop back a little bit to allow the Bathurst mountain to take its place. Very hard to make a position change up here in the mountain. Backing off there from Lekaj as well. Very nice corner from the both of them. The BMW pushing it to the absolute limits, trying to keep in front. Blue flag in front though. Hopefully it doesn't hold up either of the drivers. We'll be seeing how this gets on. Potentially going to be letting go from the inside on the exit of this one. We'll see. Up front as well, Ziminski 0.3. I'll be through the mountain section as well, and then Daniel Hudson as well now looking for a position change. We're back aboard with Lekaj. It's going to be a move to the outside of the BMW there. Going to be side by side through the fast right hand. The BMW has the inside, and Lekaj goes around the outside though, makes that move long before the braking point. The BMW looks up the inside but doesn't go for anything. Car number 67 has a little bit of an unsteady exit to that corner, but nothing too significant. That was a very nice position change from Lekaj there into P7. Daniel Hudson now also looking to put some pressure on Kral still. There's 0.1 seconds between those guys, and Zieminsky is also about to put on some pressure to Dudek in front. I don't think these guys are close enough for any overtake, but we'll keep an eye on things. Of course they are heading down straight at the moment. Audi is facing the wind and the air alone, whereas the McLaren has a little bit of help from the dirty air in front. We'll be seeing how close it is heading towards this braking section. 0.6 seconds so far, 0.2 between Hudson and Kral. It's going to be a bit of a chase through the mountain for these guys. Looking all over the rear of that Mustang in front, but not able to take any positions as of yet. And it's got the Mercedes in front. I think that's the Mercedes, potentially the Daipo SRT car. I'm not sure which one that is. Potentially the one towards the rear of the grid, as they are a blue flag car. It's going to be a straight line speed battle down this section though. Daniel Hudson looking to gain as much speed as he can. He's going to be pulling away from bit of lift in there actually from Daniel Hudson, so Crowell is going to be pulling away from him, actually giving way to blue flags is the reason. So Senatore passing by there, potentially going to be holding up Crowell in front. Seems like there's a Lamborghini there making a little bit of a mistake, getting unsteady. The Mustang of Crowell goes off track and rejoins safely. That's going to give Hudson the benefit. It's going to give them the position gain into the corner. And oh no, Hudson has broken late. It almost went into the side of Senatore. It's going to be 3 wide for blue flags there, which is not great to see. But the blue flag there again pulling in front of the P1 car. The stewards are going to have a right time on their hands at the moment. Hudson made the position again, then broke too late, almost went into the side of the faster car, caused them to take forward in action, and then lost out the position again. So interesting to see. Crowell is trying to give that position away without losing too much time. Nicely done there from Crowell, though, as a blue flag driver, and Senatore is free once again to do as he pleases. Ziemensky all of the rear of Dudek now. That gap has significantly closed, 0.2 seconds between these two. It's going to be a slipstream down towards the first corner of the mountain by Ziemensky. Looking to gain as much as he can off of that Audi, looking to the inside. Not going to be a dive into this corner though. Goes around nicely. With a twitch on the exit there, but nothing too significant. That Audi keeping it steady up front as well. Board with these guys for now. Ziemensky trying to keep on board with the Audi, trying not lose out too much time. Senatore up front and now pulled off a 28-second gap to Dudek in front, so very strong performance from car number 104 so far. Good to see. We'll see if they can do, of course, any more, or they get given any more ballast or anything like that. Of course, this race is a fundraiser for the British Heart Foundation, so if you do want to donate some money to the charity, you can give some penalties or some ballast to the drivers that are on your screen. Just hit the link that's pinned, acm-racing.com/fundraiser, and you can donate some ballast, you can donate some penalties. Just let us know in the comments who you want to give it to and what you want them to give, or what you want them to be given, and we'll do so within the hour. Ziemensky making the most of the slipstream now. Significant overspeed of that Audi, but not able to gain enough time to make a move. Has a better corner than the Audi in front, so he's able to gain a little bit of time on exit. It's going to be a look to the outside into this corner. It's going to be side by side into the braking zone. Brakes later for Ziemensky. Ziemensky is on the outside and is able to gain that position just off of that. So Dudek is now down in P3. Ziemensky made an excellent overtake into the last corner there, making the most of a clean exit of the previous corner. And now chasing down Senatore. It's going to be a difficult one to chase down, but certainly possible with 22.5 hours left of this race. Daniel Hudson still chasing down Crowell. All of the rear of that Mustang. Nice little message on the rear of that Mustang as well. Pass at your own risk with a sort of angry face. A little bit of blue flag getting involved there. Oof, that was close between those, but they got through. R999 unfortunately getting spun as a result of that, but hopefully they're able to get going. It's going to be a slipstream down this straight for Hudson. Going to be passing another blue flag in front, so potentially going to be a position gain as a result of this corner. That blue flag lifting in a bad position there. The stewards will certainly have to look at that. In the grass there for Hudson actually, so leaving that a little bit of time into the entrance of that corner. Not able to gain anything significant. Ziemensky up front has lost out a little bit of time to Senatore. 31 seconds back as it stands at the moment. Of course, has gained about 2 seconds from Dudek just behind. stay on board with Hudson for now. It's the closest battle that we've got on track. Morrow and Seifert is potentially one that's brewing as well, though. Hudson now 0.2 seconds back from Crowther up in the middle of the mountains, so no position change is likely, but we'll stay on board with things all over the rear of that Mustang. Getting in full view of the message on the rear. That's at your own risk. Hudson is going to be taking the risk soon enough, it seems. Getting a nice and clean corkscrew there. Coming out the corner fairly equal, breaking down towards the final hairpin of the mountain. A wider line for Hudson. It's going to be a clean exit of that corner. And both cars actually, seems like the Mustang in front had actually a better exit there. Going to be the slipstream for Hudson though as they head down towards Sector 3. Pushing the pedal down as far as it will go. Both Mustangs topping out their RPM. We're breaking down into this corner relatively the same time. No grass this time for Hudson, so able to stay on the rear of the other Mustang. I think a bit too far back for a diver in here at the moment, braking relatively similarly. Going through the final corner as they finish lap 43 of this race. They come across the line in P9 and P10 respectively. Hudson looking for a P9, has been doing so for the past 2 or so laps. Hasn't been able to be consistent enough so far. We'll jump back on board with Tomorrow and Seifert there. Tomorrow in the ISS Racing Team car number 184, looking for a position change into P13. All of the rear of number 6 Porsche. Taking it steady through there though. As they go through the corkscrew, it seems like a better corner for Seifert. Not out of the final hairpin though, Seifert goes wide. Tomorrow's now going to be all over the rear of their car. It's going to be a look to the outside, heading down the straight into Sector 3. Mustang versus Porsche. I'm not sure the Porsche has much of a chance. They've gone back into single file, so far Tomorrow is in front, but the Porsche might have a chance at breaking late into this corner. No, they don't. They filter back in behind the Mustang, and that was the position change for P13. Tomorrow now up into P13. Seifert now down into P14. So that's a position change between those two. Dudek up front is 2.5 seconds back from Zaminsky. Of course, we saw Zaminsky and Dudek battling at the start of the stint, but of course they've managed to keep it fairly similar, about 2.5 seconds back from P2. Just keeping it clean and consistent is what's important through here. A little bit steady through the corkscrew there, but Tobias Dudek is keeping it clean, which is good. As I said, Audi is a difficult car in ACC, so it's good to see these guys being so successful. Might potentially be a position change for Christian Bejan here in the middle of the mountain. Porsche goes wide there and allows that position to be taken. Bejan now up into P17, but unfortunately going wide and across the track there. Potentially going to be one that's looked at by the stewards as well, as that position was gained and then they went off track, but we'll see. Might have potentially been had to do with the yellow flag, or the blue flag that is in front. They're indicating to the right, they're giving way from the right. Christian Bejan is going past their car now, and they made their way up into P17 nicely. Brogan Dyer is back out in car number 343, so it seems like Ryan Cheshire did have to leave or something along those lines, which is unfortunate to see. Hopefully all is okay with that. And Straka looking to gain back those positions. Of course, lost quite a few at the start of the stint. Had an incident at the top of the mountain. Did lose out quite a few places. Has gained into P11 so far. Is now looking for a position change on Patrick Crowell. Benefited from, of course, Crowell and Hudson having a bit of a battle. It seems like Hudson has now had a mistake. Yeah, they were in the final hairpin there. Spun around. They have now lost those two positions. So Jan Straka up into the top 10 again, looking for a position change on Crowell. Unfortunate to see from Hudson. Hudson, of course, had or fought quite hard for that position in P9. To only end up losing it towards the end. 22.5 hours remain of this race. Excellent racing so far. Plenty of battles, and of course, as I say, about the first hour and a half or so, about the first hour and 15 at least, had a car within 1 second of each other, at least somewhere on track, and that trend is continuing now. Tomorrow and Seifert are having another battle. Seems to have been changed back at some point. I think Tomorrow might have made a mistake on one of these corners, but they're certainly gaining on that Porsche up front. They're going to try and do a similar thing to what they did last time, potentially just wait until there's long straights and make a move with the slipstream. Taking it steadily towards the corkscrew though. Don't need to put too much pressure on that Porsche. They know that they did it easily last time, so they can do it easily again. Smart decision to make, of course. A few more donation penalties have come through. We've had 1 kilogram of ballast to car number 343. Of course, car number 343 is currently the fastest car on track with the fastest lap of the race. Broken Dyer behind the wheel have the potential to get into P1 and lead the race quite significantly, but of course they've just been given 1 kilogram of ballast, do with 39 kilograms more for that car. They were, of course, on negative 40 kilograms at the start of this race, so they are on minus 39, which is not too much. So the position change there between Tomorrow and Seifert. Seifert, unfortunately, getting unsteady, having to take the grass. Straka is now on the rear of Crowell. Crowell having to defend and look at his mirrors once again. Just can't catch a break in this race so far, can Crowell. Now under pressure from a Mercedes behind. Jan Straka looking to gain into P9. All over the rear, Straka looking for a move into turn 1 though. Not able to get anything out of that. Drops back a little bit of time there actually as well, as coming out of that first corner. Dudek has dropped back a little bit from P2 now as well, 4.5 seconds back from P2. Jan Straka back on the rear of Crowell. Ooh, touching the inside of that corner there. Bathurst is unforgiving with these walls. You have to be perfect with every input. Can't get over the livery of this Mercedes though. It is such an excellent one. Camera there from ACC. That. Senatori certainly doing well on this field. They have lapped, I think, up to P5 also now, which is a very strong position to be in. Now P7, close enough, but still a very strong position to be in. 1 lap ahead of the field, about 2 hours into a 24-hour race. Of course, plenty more action, plenty more racing to come, plenty more things that could go wrong, plenty more things that could go right, but it's a good place to start at least. And of course, this car is very fast. We saw them qualifying first, we saw them dropping back on the first corner, and then we saw them fighting their way back up into P1, and then now they are in P1 and happily staying there. They're about 35 seconds now in front of Zeminski. Dudek about 4 seconds back from there, and I think Straka, who was their biggest challenge, is now about 1 second back from P9. So obviously quite a few positions in between those two cars. Martinez down in P19 for the 455 transmission times British Heart Foundation livery. Excellent livery on that car. You see the British Heart Foundation logos all over. Great to see. As mentioned, this race is a fundraiser for the British Heart Foundation. So far we've raised £200 and 50 pence, so a significant amount of money has been raised, but a significant amount more money could be raised. If you want to see some people having some donation penalties, if you want to see some people having some ballast removed or added on, then you can head to acm-racing.com/fundraiser. The link is on there. And the pricing and what you can buy for that is on there as well. You'll be able to get donation taken away, you'll be able to get donations or penalties and ballast added on, and everything is available on there. So please do donate. The British Heart Foundation is the biggest independent fundraiser of research into cardiovascular disease in the UK. Of course, everyone, unsurprisingly, has a heart, so this does impact everyone. The benefits of the British Heart Foundation are far and wide, so please do consider donating if you want to. Every 3 minutes in the UK, someone dies from a cardiovascular disease, so we want to try and prevent that, and that's just in the UK alone. So of course, if you do have anything to donate, if you want to see some people have some penalties, you want to see some cars have some ballast, acm-racing.com/fundraiser is the place to go. This is a battle between Transmission Racing Team and Transmission Racing Team. Car number 455 and car number 456 are battling out. It's Aston Martin versus Porsche as they head down towards Sector 3. On the 46th lap of the race, it looks like the Aston will be backing off a little bit from this one, not wanting to go side by side through this corner, potentially going to be making a dive in towards this left-hander. They're not doing it. The Porsche potentially going a little bit wide in that one. Nope, keeping it on track, keeping it steady, but it's a better exit from the Aston Martin, so potentially going to be trying to keep that going. It's going to be a dive in towards the last corner of the race, of the lap, sorry. Nothing significant so far, but it's a better exit for the Aston Martin, having to back off a little bit from that Porsche, but that position has been maintained so far by the Porsche, which is good to see. Jan Straka also all over the rear of Patrick Krall. Patrick Krall also being held up by a blue flag seemingly in front, so hopefully that resolves itself on this straight. See the Audi giving away on the right hand side of the track now. Jan Straka trying to get what he can from the slipstream. Similarly, Leonard Martinez trying to gain on their teammate in this one. Gain what they can into the mountain section. I'm not sure how much is going to be done throughout this section, but we'll stay on board and we'll see what happens. The back off there from Leonard Martinez, taking the smart decision not to battle the teammate. Of course, if they do battle the teammates and they do have a collision, that's taking both of their team's cars out of the race. It's not a smart thing to do as a team play. It seems like these guys are just taking it steady. They're going to be under pressure now from a Honda. I think that's potentially a lapping car. That Honda, that is, that Spengler behind that is looking to get past them. So they'll have to give way one by one, probably on the straight, but it might potentially be done in these coming corners as well. Jan Straka still on the rear of Krall, not as close as he was previously, but he is 0.5 seconds back, so it is slowly gaining and gaining. Breaking it into that corner, Mustang on the outside just giving away to these two cars. Bit of flashing there from Jan Straka. Putting on some more pressure to Patrick Krell. Number 455 seems to have had an accident. It's Leila Martinez that has been caught up in something, now doing donuts, trying to rejoin the track. A bit of damage on the front of that Aston Martin. Not too sure what went on with their car. We'll jump back and see if we can see anything. So they went for a move around the outside of the Porsche. Went on the outside, and then it seems like two cars, as I mentioned, did the unthinkable, and two teammates took each other out. So it's unfortunate to see, but of course it will be looked at by the stewards, and potentially something will come out of that. But we'll keep our eye on things. But Leila Martinez now back in the pit lane, looking to repair that damage, looking to potentially get a new driver in, potentially some new tyres and fuel as well. We're heading towards the end of the second stint. The stint timer will run out in about 25 minutes or so. Jan Straka still putting pressure on Patrick Krell. Can't get past Patrick Krell. Patrick Krell has had some amazing defence today, it seems. A lot of drivers have been struggling to get past, so it's good to see. Jan Straka, though, certainly putting on the pressure, certainly trying to get their way past, heading down in towards turn 1 now, both keeping clean through that corner. It's going to be a drag race down towards the end, but it seems like it's been a bad start to that one for Jan Straka, getting a little bit steady on the exit of that corner. Upcoming at ACM, we have quite a few events coming up this week. Got obviously 24 Hours of Bathurst this week, this weekend. Tomorrow we've got GT3 Sundays Season 4. That is a race which will be at Spa. Of course, 70-minute race, that one. After that we've got Glen GT2, which is a GT2 race on Monday at Watkins Glen. After that, 2 hours of Valencia for the Mini Endurance Series on Thursday. Torrecard on Friday for the 69-minute series Season 1. And 5 hours of Slippery Silverstone next weekend. That race is, of course, in the wet, so it's potentially going to be an interesting race for those guys. And then again, GT3 Sundays, the 70-minute race at Monza the week after. Upcoming endurance for events as well. We've got 5 hours of GT2 Nordschleife in 2 weeks' time. That's, of course, at the Nordschleife in GT2 cars for just 5 hours. After that, 24 hours of Kyalami 2 weeks after that. And that will, of course, be a 24-hour race once again. This time, though, at Kyalami and as part of the 2026 Endurance Series. And then the 7 hours of pre-2019 Nordschleife, which is taking place on the 15th of August. That one is at Nordschleife in cars which are made for 2019. So, interesting races coming up. If you want to join us, acm-racing.com is the place to go. We've got plenty available on there for you to join, plenty available for you to look at, and plenty available for you to do so. As I say, acm-racing.com is the place to go. Donation penalty wise, we've had another minus 40 kilograms taken away from car number 101, and that will be applied within sort of the next half an hour or so. As mentioned, it's a fundraiser for the British Heart Foundation, so if you want to take some kilograms off some teams, or you want to give some teams some kilograms, or give some teams some penalties, you're more than welcome to do so. acm-racing.com/fundraiser is the place to go for that. All proceeds do go directly to the British Heart Foundation, and they are a very important charity funding research into heart problems. acm-racing.com. You can join ACM Racing to see our events that are going on. Post a link in the Twitch chat as well. We are a PC only racing league, so if you are on console or Xbox or PlayStation or anything like that, we unfortunately do not have any events on there, but we do have quite a few on ACC on PC, so if you're on ACC PC, come and join us. Got plenty on. We've got 4 sprint races during weekdays, 1 on the weekend, and then an endurance race basically every week on a Saturday. Today's race, of course, 24 hours of Bathurst. tomorrow. We've got 70 minutes of Spa. Up the inside goes Jan Straka. Sorry for the interruption there, Jan Straka. Taking that position again. There's 2 cars off track. It seems like Patrick Krall will be having to rejoin. There's a little bit of a hustle between some Mustangs back there as well. Daniel Hudson and Brogan Dyer having a battle. Brogan Dyer did get past their car, so they're now in P14. Daniel Hudson in P15. They're about 20 seconds back from Seifert. Brogan Dyer making a move on that blue flag car there as well. Confirmation on what happened last time for car number 343. They did have a game crash, or the driver who was on at the time, Ryan Cheshire, had a game crash unfortunately, and I think they also therefore had an issue with the join order, had an issue with the entry for their team, and unfortunately I think one of the drivers is unable to race. That might potentially be Ryan Cheshire, so it'll be interesting to see what car 343 can do throughout the rest of this race. Of course, plenty of the race to continue. 22 hours remain. Dudek has made their way up and is relatively close to Zeminski now. Zeminski has dropped back a bit over these last sort of 20 minutes or so, had about 4.5 seconds to 5 seconds gap, but is now only 1 second ahead. So Dudek is looking for a position change back into P2. That Audi is able to keep it going for longer than the McLaren seemingly. Oh, that's a bad move by the blue flag there, which is unfortunate to see. Car number 76 there making contact with the faster car. Thankfully nothing too significant, and of course the stewards will be looking into that as well. But it will not be helping Zeminski. We'll have a little bit of damage from that contact, and we'll have lost out a little bit of time as well. But it is now back up to 1 second. Dudek will be trying to slam that Audi as fast as they can down this straight. This is the closest on track at the moment. They navigate their way through some blue flags. We haven't had any penalties applied to anyone so far. As a reminder, you can donate some money to charity, and as a result some people have some 5-second penalties, some drive-through penalties, some stop-go penalties, some 10-15 second penalties, or even some ballast. So if you do want to donate, acm-racing.com/fundraiser, the link is on there and all the rules are on there as well for you to have a look at what is available. One of the drivers that's been slowly creeping their way up is Thomas Coops in the 151 Beam Motorsports car. About 6 seconds back from Solis at the moment. I think that time has been slowly creeping its way up. The last lap was invalid by Solis, but was faster than Coops' time, so we'll keep our eye on this one. It is about 7 or 6 seconds, 6 or 7 seconds or so at the moment between these two cars. 54 laps have been completed in this race so far. Zeminski is in P2, at 47 seconds behind Senatore in P1. Still relatively close between P2 and P3, about 1 second. Dudek is back from Zeminski. See the orange McLaren up ahead. Time is slowly being gained by the Audi. Audi, I think, is better for endurance races on these long stints, but is more of a difficult car to keep under control. It doesn't have as much downforce, I don't think, as some of the other cars. You have to get the setup perfect for this track, but it seems like the number 112 team, Schmidt Racing, have got that perfected. We'll have an advantage of slipstream from this blue flag now as well. .7 between these two cars. Can breaking late into this corner. Dudek will be trying to gain as much time as he can. 0.5 seconds, potentially a better exit for the McLaren up ahead though, as they head down to finish the 55th lap of the race. Gap certainly came down in the last lap. It was a lap that was 9/10 faster by Dudek, so a very strong lap time indeed. Of course, he's only half a second back now from Zeminski. More ballast has been donated. Car 999 minus 40 kilograms. That'll be applied within the next 20 minutes or so. acm-racing.com/fundraiser is the place to go for all of the donation penalty rules and donation penalty applications, as well as the link to where you can donate. Seifert is having a battle at the moment with Schvelger. It seems like Schvelger potentially had oh sorry, that was Brogan Dyer that they were battling, so Brogan Dyer has made their way past Seifert now, and will be chasing down Schwengler, who has just passed the pit straight. Brogan Dyer has a significant amount of damage on the front of that Mustang, so potentially lost control at some points in the previous few laps. Just on board of Dudek though, as Dudek is now 0.3 seconds back from Zeminski. Gaining slowly but surely as they head down in towards the braking zone. I'm not sure it's going to be a dive bomb into this one. No, it's not. Both keeping it clean throughout this corner. Potentially a better exit from the McLaren there. You can see them pulling away slightly on the exit. Is now looking to get back on Straka. Obviously we saw Straka fighting for that position earlier on. Was able to make that position in the last corner of a lap, but now Kral is looking to take that position back as they're heading towards the end of this second stint of this 24-hour race. Straka obviously had earlier pit stop, so does still have 20 minutes left on the stint timer, whereas Kral only has about 10 minutes left. So interesting to see between these two. It'll be newer tyres for Straka, but Straka will have potentially pushed them harder as they were fighting for this position. Certainly a train of cars coming through the mountain though. The flag on the outside giving way to these drivers. Straka steady on the entrance to that last hairpin there, but all is good. Dudek is still behind that McLaren. Nothing so far between these guys. It's dropped back slightly from what it was. It's only 0.6 seconds now. So so nothing immediate between these two, but we'll keep our eye on things and see how it goes. Heading towards the end of the second hour now. Certainly a good lead by Vincenzo Senatore. They're looking like they are strong contenders for the win at the moment. Seems like they need some donation ballast applied to them. Wink, wink. But they lead by 53 seconds at the moment. The car number 104 Mustang with that smiley face on front is certainly looking strong. Just behind them, Ziemensky and Dudek get involved in a little bit of a blue flag incident or two there. Not sure exactly what's going on in that corner, but it seems like these two have gotten through okay. But yeah, Ziemensky and Dudek about 50 seconds back from Senatore, but these two are battling at the moment for P2 and P3 as the second hour comes to a close. And just behind them, Cataldo is now looking for a position in this as well. He's just been caught up a little bit by a blue flag, I think. So he has dropped back a little bit, but he is about 5 seconds back from the two in front of him, and then about a minute back from those guys is Zanet Lekaj in the car number 67. Having a fairly good race so far in the number 67 car. They're up no positions, down no positions since the start. So they have kept it even, kept it nice and clean. They're about to get lapped by P1, but they do have an 18-second lead over P6, so a very strong position that they're in so far. Solis in P6 is about 7 seconds in front of Thomas Coops, but of course they are about 18 seconds back from the car, so they're fairly comfortable as well. Thomas Coops, similar position with 7 seconds back from Solis and 23 seconds gap over P8. P8 has some relative contention for that position. They're about 24 seconds back from Thomas Coops in P7, but P9 is only 2 seconds back from them. P10 as well, Mazzola is only 10 seconds back from P9, so potentially a little bit of a brewing of a battle between P8, 9 and 10, but we'll see how that goes on. Rogan Diet, one of the strong contenders for this race, in P12, 24 seconds back from P11 at the moment, so nothing too significant on the horizon for these guys, but of course we'll keep our eye on things as the race progresses. Dudek is in the pit lane, so Dudek is being the first one to take a pit stop in the second hour. They did a similar thing on the previous hours. It seems like they're just doing it on the hour blocks instead of trying to maximise the stints, which is fair enough. They each have their own plan, which is fair enough to do. And it seems like Ravenko is now in the car taking over from Dudek, so it's back in with Ravenko. Ravenko will be looking for a challenge to P2. P2 of course was challenging or was defending that position relatively well, staying ahead. But of course Tobias Zemensky hasn't come into the pit lane yet, so no potential changes at the moment. We'll see if they come in this lap. As I said, they have about 10 minutes, 9 minutes or so left on the stint timer, so plenty of time left on this current stint for these guys. And we'll see what they do about that. Cataldo, similar position, about 9 minutes left on the stint timer, so they'll be pitting on a relatively similar lap to Zemensky. I'm not sure whether these guys will do an undercut or not, but we'll see. And the other driver in the pit lane at the moment is Misha Shran. That was changed over from Kusek. Did a double stint at the start of this race, so we'll be glad to be out of the car. Obviously, if they are from Europe, it's quite hot in Europe at the moment, so driving for long stints at time, recommended that you take some water, have some good hydration, have some good air conditioning as well before doing a solo endurance. Patrick Kraut currently closest on track, about 1.8 seconds back from Straka. Straka hasn't been able to gain too significantly on Patrick Kraut. Straka, of course, was leading the race for a few moments earlier on, but then at the start of the previous stint had an incident, had a mistake, and had to return, or had to go through the pit lane one more time to repair the damage. They dropped back from P1 into P11, gained P10, P9, they're now in P8, and they're looking for more positions to be gained. Mustang in front, getting very unsteady through that section of track. I'm not sure which car that specifically was. It wasn't car 343, it was another Mercedes with the number 3 on it. Yeah, Straka is looking to gain back those positions. He's 24 seconds back from Thomas Coops at the moment. Thomas Coops, of course, being the driver ahead in P7. But 21 hours remain of this race. Plenty of positions to change, plenty of things to happen. Some information in the chat from Tommy as well. 7P6 is on a different strategy and looking for P2, so that's Seb Solis, I believe, in car 301. And they're looking for P2 apparently, which is interesting to hear. 45 degrees Celsius outside and no AC. Yeah, like I said, if you're in Europe or anywhere at the moment, it is very hot at the moment. So of course, it's recommended to take some water, have enough fluids before you start your stint. Even in the USA it's quite hot apparently as well, 45 degrees. So like I said, have some fluid, have some drinks, and hopefully you're able to get through without sweating too much. P2 is in the pit lane at the moment. Zeminski is in the pits, I think. Gallo, Senatore, car number 104 was just in the pits as well. They swapped back over to Rizzo Gallo, so that was the driver who did the first stint. They led the race for the first hour, swapped over to Senatore, and it's now swapped back over into Gallo. So these two will be going one for one at the start of this race. It seems Cataldo not been into the pit lane yet, but Zeminski is in the pits at the moment. It seems like Ravenko is catching up quite fast. We'll see when Zeminski is planning on leaving. They've been stopped so far for 28 seconds. They should be going down around about now. The engine should be starting anytime soon. It seems like Ravenko will be passing them at this rate. It seems like Zeminski still hasn't got going, so I'm not sure what is going on with their time stops. Maybe they have some damage, maybe they're repairing something, but Ravenko is now comfortably into P3. Of course, once Cataldo in front does a pit stop, that'll be P2. And so Zeminski, who is now coming out of the pit lane, is about 15 seconds or so back from that. So unfortunate to see a slow pit stop there from car number 993, but Jakovic is now in the car and ready for another hour of racing. And of course, with 21 hours left of the race, plenty of battling stuff to happen, and plenty of positions to gain. Roman Schwengler now in the pit lane as well. Lecage in car number 67 doing a pit stop as well. Yeah, stint timer for the second hour for most people runs out over the next sort of 2 or 3 minutes or so. So we'll be seeing these guys do their pit stops. Lecage has come out of the pit lane just behind Mazzola. I'm not sure when Mazzola has recently pitted. They pitted 22 minutes ago, so they're on a clean stint at the moment and are able to take on this battle. So Lecage has a fight on their hands for P8 potentially. Seeing that brewing and seeing that progress over the next few minutes. It seems like Leila Martinez has had an issue up in the corkscrew area. Seems like car number 76 was involved as that, as well as the 2 cars ahead of them. So fortunate to see from car number 555. I'm not sure exactly what went on in the mountain, but it's unfortunate to see either way. Car number 76 in 30 has a significant amount of damage on their car now, so they will be potentially crawling back to the pit lane to repair, and of course got a little bit of time from that. Thomas Coops was one of those drivers who was involved in that, but they are now just in front of Solis. Solis, unfortunately, getting unsteady there on the inside. They have a significant amount of damage on that Mustang, so we're definitely caught up in that incident at the corkscrew, which is unfortunate to see. I think Tommy Builds, who was in the chat, was saying that that was his team, so it's unfortunate to see. Hopefully you're able to repair and get back on track in a good position. Seems like a significant amount of suspension damage and stuff on that car, so hopefully you're able to get it repaired and back out on track in reasonable time. Oliver Anderson has taken over from Lekaj in the number 67 Mustang. That red and gold car is now looking for Mazzola's P8 position. Mazzola about 4 seconds ahead. You can see them just taking the final corner up ahead. Of course, that will be brewing in the background. So, as that's the second hour of the racing complete, we've had most people do their pit stops and a few positions change around. We've got 4, 5, 6 having a yellow flag on the corkscrew as well there, turned perpendicular, which is unfortunate, but hopefully they're able to get back going again. Seems like cars are thankfully having some common sense and some care and approach to their yellow flag as they get back going now. But yeah, as I was saying, that has been the first 2 hours of this race. We've had some very successful cars racing so far. Gallo is just one of them to name. They started the race in P1. We saw them at the first corner losing out a few positions, but they've been able to gain that back. They've been able to gain some time over the rest of the field as well. They're about 50 seconds ahead of anyone else on track, so a significant lead so far in this race. But of course, with 21 hours to go, there is plenty of action to be had. You'll potentially be back online with the stream later, but unfortunately this is all that I can do for the start of this race. As mentioned, we might potentially be back this evening, so in about 5 or 6 hours or so, and if not, we'll be back before the end of the race for the last hour, potentially last hour and a half of this race. Thank you everyone for coming along and joining us on the stream. As mentioned, this race is a fundraiser for the British Heart Foundation. So far we have raised £230.50, so a significant amount towards a great cause. If you want to donate some, if you want to give some donation penalties and some ballast to the drivers that you see on your screen, acm-racing.com/fundraiser is the place to go. It's the pinned link in the Twitch chat. If you want to join ACM Racing, join in the events that we hold. We have tomorrow we have 70 minutes of Spa, weekend after that 70 minutes of Monza. Monday we've got a race at Watkins Glen in the GT2 cars. Next weekend we've got a 5-hour endurance race at Silverstone, and then a 5-hour race in Nordschleife in GT2 cars as well. So plenty on offer here at ACM. acm-racing.com is the website that is available for you to view everything. Yeah, for now that will be it. That will be all from ACM. Thank you very much for watching and joining along. This has been Harry Goswell, the owner and founder of ACM Racing, commentating the 24 hours of Bathurst for the first 2 hours. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you later on in the race.